So throw off every excuse, throw off every distraction, throw off every idol, throw off anything in your life that keeps you from running the race or being the...
Hello.
Hey, we are back for another podcast. It has been a little while since we've done one. Life's been busy. I don't know what else to say.
Just a little bit. Just a little busy.
We're going to start talking about that here in just a little bit. So, because we've had a very insane Christmas. And
Only halfway through.
Yeah, about halfway through it, but it's been good. We've had all kinds of amazing stories, some of the stuff we're going to talk about today on the podcast. And so as we're winding down to the end of the year, we are getting ready for next year. That's a big part of everything that's kind of going on right now with Forgotten Ministries, trying to figure out how to navigate through closing out all of the outreaches and then, shifting to family and all the stuff that we got going on. And then come January 1st, getting ready for the insane schedule that we have next year with churches and all stuff. So we thought we'd talk a little bit about 2025 and some of the stuff we got coming up. We thought we would start talking about a little bit, letting you guys know about them so you can kind of start understanding some of the stuff that we got coming or going on.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about crossover.
Okay, yeah.
So if you want to talk about crossover, what that is, for people who know what that is.
I'd love to talk about it. So every year at the Southern Baptist Convention, the day, or the few days before, the week before, however long before, they open up for all the pastors that are coming in. They kind of open up like a week or so of serving with a bunch of different mission projects. And so God's kind of opened up the door for us to be able to get in there and do grow walks. And so the past couple of years, we've been involved with Crossover doing grow walks. But this next year, Crossover's in Dallas, and the guy who's over Crossover asked us to make a video about the grow walk.
J.J. Washington.
Yeah, he asked us to make a video about the grow walk so that we could, so that they could push that to churches and show them, hey, this is the grow walk. Do you want to do it or not? And just kind of, open up that opportunity for churches to serve, which is really cool. And kind of crazy if you think about it. And so, yeah, God's been good, dude.
And so we kind of, Yale helped us make the video.
He did.
And so just real quick, Brandon's with us, by the way, if you didn't see him. And he does have a neck brace on because he had surgery. And so he's about 2 weeks into that recovery. He really isn't able to do much, but he can sit here and talk. So we're going to use him for that today. Tell us about Yale just real quick and what we did with them last year at Crossover.
So last year, it was pretty amazing. The director of Indiana for the Baptist Association, he worked with us, and he said there was a guy that we had to meet, and it was Yale. And we did a conference call with them, kind of the disbelief, it's just grilling hamburgers. And so we got to do 3 grow walks with him in those while we were up there with them, and it just kind of changed he said it kind of changed the DNA of his congregation even more to serving. And it's just been an outlet that they've been able to use and get them out in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the thing I loved about Yale's church is they were using the grill outreach for church planting. And so, we've been able to use that for not only going out, meeting communities, and sharing the gospel with the hope people come to know Jesus, but we've seen churches use it for church revitalization or church planning. One of the guys that we sold a couple grills to up in Denver, they're going to be using it for that. And so, anyways, we're not going to get into all that right now, but the crossover event has become kind of, I think, a new thing that we will probably be a part of most every year, especially since we're going to the Southern Baptist Convention and setting up our booth to talk to pastors about the grill walk and different things. And so this year is pretty significant with the video going out beforehand. Because I believe, if I remember right, JJ said that was going out to somewhere like 1,200 churches.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So, even if 30 of those churches want to do it, which is,
it's a pretty minimal amount.
Yeah, I'd say pretty minimal. We're going to be like, all right, how are we going to do this? So this is where we're going to call in the reserves, and we're going to get with our divide and conquer conference. We're going on hardly any sleep right now. So I yawned already twice because of the lack of sleep. Yeah, anyways, but with that conference, we have now people that we feel really confident with and relationships with people that we have that we're going to call in the big guns, and we'll probably end up having to get a Comanche team and a Meridian, Mississippi team and probably some Kansas teams, and we're going to bring them all down to that if that ends up happening, and then those guys will help equip and train churches in that region, and I don't know what's going to come of it, man. That's part of 2025. That's what's exciting. I mean, it's literally the sky's the limit. And
Yeah.
you know, we've been talking to one of the guys down there. That's the president of the Southern Baptist Convention, and we met him in Brownsville. And they're going to bring an executive team here to Enid to check out all the things that we're doing. And some of that is so that we can partner with. He is over 4,500 churches. Again, how does that even make sense or possible for a little ministry in Enid, Oklahoma? Well, you know, we have a big God and He does big things, and so we're just going to trust on Him on the logistics. And so I think some of this, as we are praying and God is just opening the same doors. I mean, at the end of the day, He wants people to come to know Him. It's about people coming to know Him, and they don't know unless someone tells them. And so if we're going to tell them, that means the church has got to leave the building, and that means people are going to have to go out to the highways and the byways. And, you know, what we talked about a few weeks ago with Luke 14, there's plenty of room left inside the banquet hall. There's plenty of room left in heaven, and God is sending people out to go and invite others to the banquet because they have not heard about it. So we are going to take just a few seconds right now, and we are going to play you the video that Yale helped us make that we're going to be sending to the crossover churches for Dallas.
Wow, what a nice video. Whoever made that put in, I don't know, minimal effort.
I know. And
At least on our part.
You know what's crazy about that whole video is when Yale sent that to us, he's like, in the video we watched, he's like, he did first run, and he, like, literally the whole thing, first run.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't like the way something sounded. And then he did second run, which was I thought it was, both of them were perfect. And it was like, that was it. He didn't like script it. He just, like, the Holy Spirit just led him. And it was, he did a great job.
It was really good.
And then Hayden threw over the pictures. We got to give Hayden a round of applause. Nice job, Hayden. Good job. And he did a good job. It's a good video.
It's my gold star.
There you go.
Thanks.
So we are going to shift gears now to Christmas and all the things. I believe in the last podcast, a few of them we've been talking about the outreaches that we were going to do around Enid, partnering with churches here in Enid and outside Enid. And we are on, today's Friday, so we have had 4 days of outreaches. I'll just kind of go over the first, how we did it. Monday night, we worked with, let's see, one, two,
First Baptist.
3, 4, I think 4 churches on first night. Yeah. And then we basically did our tailgate grill. We had Dover Christian Church was out there cooking, and then we had churches out there behind it with our present trailer. Which, have you shown that picture?
Yes, I have.
Okay, the present trailer that you've seen, and we followed up and went door to door and knocked on them, told people that we were out there with the church, and so let's just go day by day. Let's just talk about it. Maybe talk about something that you guys seen or something you guys experienced. So obviously the first night was the first time that we had done that with the presents, with the groceries, with the hamburgers. So go ahead and one of you guys take that and go.
I'll let Brandon get Monday night.
Okay, Monday night, Brandon.
So Monday night was interesting. Area that we hadn't really worked.
Yeah.
There was quite a few people. Definitely a new church that we hadn't worked with before, and then a lot of people that hadn't even done a grill walk with us yet. So the whole thing was new to them. But I think what was amazing is we had a couple that didn't want to leave, but she had to go to work at 5 a.m. and the burgers must have been good because she asked for one to go to take to lunch with her
Right.
the next day. But it's just, once again, we get to do this again and again. And when we work with new people in new areas, just to kind of get that initial excitement that I get when we go into the new area and seeing that it works no matter wherever we go. And as long as you got a group of believers with you, it works at every door.
Yeah, we had some logistics challenges that we had never ran into because we have never done a grill walk at night. And usually we are in fall, spring, summer, and we can push 8:30 pretty easy in those time frames, and we're still got light here in Oklahoma. But I noticed as we got started going, it's like, dude, we can't see the front porch on some of these houses. Because if they didn't have a front porch light, it was dark. I remember one of them, I was trying to find the doorbell. I was feeling around on the wall. And anyways, but we learned real quick, we used our present trailer that was wrapped with lights. We would move it up, and it would kind of light the way for us as we went around. And so I think one of the stories for me that just God's timing on things.
Mm-hmm.
Me and one of my daughters went up to a door, and a gentleman answered, and I thought he had kids because he had some signs in the yard that had like, a kids basketball team that they're on, different things, but it was his grandkids or something. And anyways, he answered the door and asked how he's doing. He said not very good. He says, I'm in a really bad season right now. And we asked him what that meant. And he basically, he had just moved in with his father that is really struggling with Alzheimer's, and he is not doing well. And it was just a perfect time for us to say, hey, God sent us here to encourage you and to remind you that he's got this under control. And the guy just started weeping, and we had to pray over him. And I just think about things like that. If some group wouldn't have walked by, that guy would have just continued to sit there, and everything would have just been against him. And he's reminded that God's bigger than all of that. And it was because a group of people were willing to go out there. And I loved, there was one house where there was some kids that opened the door. I don't think they were supposed to open the door. I think the oldest one in the house was 8. The parents were not home. Luckily, the neighbor knew them and came out and kind of helped us with that. But the neighbor was like, these kids would not have gotten Christmas presents, and they probably haven't eaten in a long time. And so we were able to bless them, even though the family wasn't home. And so again, there's these things that are going on in areas, and when the churches went out there, we were able to find them. And so I know for our ministry now, seeing that, it allows us to start praying through like what's next.
Yeah.
Well, and you talk about the timing part of it. There was another young lady that where we had parked the trailer, and the lights was bright up. She had just got home from work. She come out and was talking on the phone, and I went up to talk to her, and she just asked what was going on. And so I was telling her what we were doing, and that we were working with a local church, and she didn't have no kids, didn't need to eat, but she was just overwhelmed on what we were doing. And she was on the phone telling whoever she was talking to about it. And then what was even cooler about that is she had just moved to Enid and was looking for a church to go to. So I was able to get Brent over to her, talk to her. I'm really curious to see. I think she'll be there on Sunday, but just once again, like you said, the timing and the sovereignty of God of just that's where we parked the trailer in that neighborhood at that time, and hopefully getting her involved in fellowship.
Right. I will say this is something that happened neat that night. I got a text afterwards. We worked with New Life Church, and they're a pretty small church, and someone in the neighborhood, because we told people we were with New Life Church, and as we were going out, and afterwards, I guess someone had sent out something on Facebook, really appreciating New Life Church, telling Marshall, the pastor of that church, super excited about you guys and your army. You guys came out, you blessed us, and it was a really, really nice post. And anyways, Marshall texted me the post, and then he said something, he says something like, I feel a little bad that you guys were out doing all the work and we're getting all the thing, all the attention. But he says, that's what the kingdom's about. It's about us working together. And that's always been my hope with Forgotten Ministries, that people, or I guess I should say churches, understand that we're just a small part of the puzzle or part of the body. We're like the little toe, that we get to be a part of helping churches to move and to mobilize. But ultimately, we want to connect churches with the forgotten, or those that aren't church, or people that don't know Jesus. And our hope is I hope Marshall's churches, got 20 new people in. My hope is that they get to take those people, love them, disciple them, and train them and equip them, and eventually that becomes the new army for them. And so, I appreciate he got that. He understood that we're on this, we're together. It's not separate organizations, separate churches. It's one body, glorifying the Father and what we're trying to do together. And I was really blessed by that. It was really neat to see that. So anyway, so after first night, we went to Tuesday night. We did it at our normal park outreach. We do every Tuesday night, which we've talked about in the podcast. It was insane.
I got out of whatever vehicle I was in. I don't even remember. And I was just like, oh, wow, everybody's here. They didn't spare anyone.
No.
And that was really cool. It was really nice to see, because we went to a few apartment complexes, and just to be able to see a lot of people in the community, which brings up the thought of it's as simple as just going out and inviting people. Granted, not every day at church will you have free donuts, free food, free presents, but it just kind of goes to show if you're willing to put in effort and care about people, they're going to show up.
Right.
And so it was really unique. It was fun. I got to preach, and it was nice. It was nice preaching and being able to share the gospel with a lot of people. It was kind of stressful at first with tons of people, but it went well.
Yeah, it went really well. I would say we had, I don't know, close to 300 was my
Yeah.
guess. I mean, I'm horrible at counting numbers, but there was a ton of people. And we worked with Your Family Church for years on that ministry or that outreach, and they did a phenomenal job. We had the Repented Motorcycle Group
Yep.
came out, and I forgot to say we had First Baptist Church Okarche come out first night.
We did.
James's group came out, and anyways, that we'll talk about them later because we're going to work with them later this year. But Tuesday, I just felt like, honestly, out of all the years we've ever done it, it was literally the smoothest. I don't
Definitely.
even know why. Honestly, it just. I remember at one point I'm like, wait, this is going way too fast.
Yeah.
And the food line was overwhelmingly long, and they just kind of funneled right into the Christmas present line.
Yeah.
And we had to start the Christmas presents earlier than what we had probably was really going to, because the lines were just getting boggled.
Yeah.
And so we were done with that outreach in almost like an hour and
I think it was an hour and a half.
hour and a half, and we're usually running 2.5 hours pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in the summer.
Yeah, and I would say one of the things partnering with a New Life Church was their band came out.
Yeah,
Yes.
they did a good job.
They did a great job. I don't know their ages. I would say most of them are definitely teenagers.
Probably older high school, younger college
Yeah,
kids.
if I had to say, somewhere in the areas, maybe really young 20s, but they did a great job. Had a band out there. I mean, there was tons of kids running up to the present trailer.
Oh, yeah.
They were super excited about just everything was going on. They were super excited. I know a couple of you guys had some conversations with people. Do you remember your conversation with all the lack of sleep and everything that you've been going through?
I know it's like, well, which person out of the thousands that we've, or not thousands, but
Brandon, the guy that you had talked to several times came up to at the end.
Oh yeah, he come up to the end, and it was interesting because he come up and he said, "What was our last conversation about?" And I told him, I said, "Well, I'm pretty sure it was to just give everything up and serve the Lord." And he goes, "Oh yeah, that was a good conversation." So, but it's just good to continue to see people and continue to be out there. And it was kind of special for me. My daughter was out there helping with the clothing, and just to see. Just have family out there and then be with you guys. This is my
Right.
4th year now, and like you said, it ran so smooth. But I just felt like we're all just good together,
Right.
and so it's been really good. Then me and Hayden actually got to talk to one of the homeless guests
yes, my guy.
that we've had the last couple of years, and there's something there, I think, and he just hides it. And so me and Hayden were able to have a really good conversation with him before we left. And, but we can't get discouraged because it's about planting the seeds. And I know we're planting and I know we're watering. So hopefully that will come to tuition someday.
So, yes. So, street ministry is pretty challenging. I mean, I've been doing it a long time. I could probably write about 10 different books on it. I mean, you're going to run into all kinds of things. And, when I first got to the park, some guy came running up and he was like, "Hey, Jeremiah, I got to tell you something." And supposedly he thinks he now has the ability to do miracles like Jesus did. But yet it was like turning paper into silver dollars and stuff like that. And so, I mean, you just never know what you're going to get when you get down to the streets and when you start doing things. But at the end of the day, there were tons of happy people and tons of full bellies. And Your Family Church did a phenomenal job. I mean, they killed it
Yeah.
on the
Oh,
food,
yeah.
as they always do. But so Wednesday was a little different.
Yeah,
Man.
oh my god.
So go and run down Wednesday, Hayden.
So we kind of had been focused on the east side of Enid the first 2 nights, and so we decided just to go straight west from the west side all the way east. We went to Pheasant Run apartment complex. We were there. I guess everybody was waiting outside.
Because of the flyers.
Yeah, because we passed out flyers and everyone was waiting outside for us, and it was really good to be able to again give out gifts and just share the gospel and feed those people. Talked to one lady who was really appreciative of it. Oh my gosh, I can't talk today.
That's close.
And then after that, we went to the Willows, which is right off of Van Buren, or not off of Van Buren. It's off of Willow, but it's near the Van Buren intersection. And again, people were waiting on us. When we were handing out flyers the day before, one lady was like, "I'm looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night." And then we hit another apartment complex where it was, again, on the west side of town, knocked on the door, and their kid had been waiting for us and fell asleep waiting for us to
I
come
know.
and bring them presents. and it was really good. And then after that, we went to Pine Manor, which is on the east side of town, and so it was awesome because we kind of just got to saturate almost all of Enid. You know,
Right.
it was almost like we're not missing any spots, quote
Right.
unquote.
It was good. We got to work with the local church, Westminster Church. We've worked with them quite a few times. They had a good group out there with us, and then we brought in Dover Christian Church was there.
Yeah.
First Baptist Church Longdale, and then a non-denominational church out of Thomas, Oklahoma. So we had tons of volunteers. I mean, I'd say we were pushing 40, 50 at
Probably.
least. And anyways, I agree with Hayden. The first apartment was, a lot of this was testing the water. So
Yeah.
again, a lot of what we do when new areas is to see what angle we can attack that with the gospel. And so we're going to take all that back now to the drawing board, pray about it. And now that we have mission teams coming in, these are areas that we will definitely be back engaged in on spring break, summer. We're gonna go back after these areas because we got to share the gospel some, but not like we would have wanted to.
Yeah.
Because it was chaos. I mean, it was crazy, dude. I mean, we got bombarded at the trailers. I mean, people were coming up. And even though we were knocking a lot of doors and people were talking and praying with people, there was some good conversations. It allows us to now go back out in more of a controlled environment and train the team we want to take out and really focus on the gospel presentation. And so I would say that at the apartment complexes, I think it was 2 people came up to me and told me that they would have not have their kids would not have had presents if we wouldn't have come. So, you know, that really touched me. You know, they were very thankful. The apartment complex we were at, they were very thankful. And sometimes in ministry, you don't get that. You don't get the thank you, which we don't do it for the thank you. But it does. Every once in a while, it's nice when people are very thankful for what, all the energy and hundreds of hours that was put into those things. It was. And I know for a fact the churches were really blessed.
Yeah.
And one of the churches, Westminster, that we worked with, and we'll do this in another podcast. We're talking about regionally dividing up Enid in a grid and finding churches to take that area and invest a year or 2 in it. And we're having that conversation with First Baptist Enid. Westminster is another one, and several others. But Westminster really likes the ideal of the second apartment, of really tackling that and us focusing on mission teams and them going out there and hopefully bring those people in. And the pastor's wife did an amazing job. She met a Satanist
Yes.
at one of them, and she met a atheist and had really good conversations with them. So, you know, pray for that God will move through that and that they'll come to know Jesus. Anything on Wednesday night, Brandon?
Yeah, so the Willow Apartments, we've had a relationship with just that apartment complex.
Yes, that's right.
Over the last couple of years, we did their lawn care, and so we thought we'd try it. And I can tell you, the on-site property manager, she was out there the night with us, and man, we probably talked for 45 minutes about how thankful she was and about the buzz that had been around the complex. And then the next day, I don't even know if you guys know this, the main property manager called me and just wanted me to express to everybody how grateful she was and asked us to come back out.
Come on.
And they said that we could use the apartment complex any way we wanted to. We could bring in whatever we wanted to. Any of the facilities they had. They just really, they said nobody's ever done anything like that there.
Yeah.
It's a newer apartment complex kind of in the
Right.
middle of businesses. So I think that's just a relationship that we could have and
That's
going
good.
forward.
That's good. Absolutely. So Thursday night.
Last
Holy
night.
cow, it was last night. I mean, oh my goodness, dude! I've never seen anything like it. I don't feel like we did our outreach here at the center, and we've done it for several years. I'd say
Yeah.
probably five or 6 years, something like that. And it's really been a good chance. We partnered with several churches over the last 5 years. Some of them have brought presents for the kids. We've went out and got kids as presents orders, and they bought them and they wrapped. I mean, it's been all kinds of things we've done to navigate through that. But last night we were able to set up our parking lot. And maybe Hayden could throw up a couple pictures about that.
Yeah.
That'd be great. And
Maybe a little, yeah, we'll see.
how we did with the parking lot, we had First Baptist O'Keene come in to help run that. Thank goodness they
Amazing
were here. Oh my
volunteers.
goodness, dude, we'd have been in serious trouble if they wouldn't have shown up.
Like superheroes.
Superheroes. And then we had Sandy's Tacos, which is what's what it is. It's a Mexican
Taco place.
taco place.
Yeah.
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 And they came in and literally like a spread beyond belief.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
it was
Tamales.
so much food.
They had their own volunteers. It was like one of those things that felt nice to just be like, yeah, this is your kitchen.
Yeah.
You might as well slap Sandy's Tacos on the front
right,
of the building.
exactly. And so, anyways, we had the food ministry. We went through 14 pallets of food last night that we gave out. And I mean, I gotta be honest, dude, there was probably 400 plus people there. I mean, it was overwhelming. And honestly, we only advertised that an hour before with flyers and an hour on one of the Enid group chat things. And we got bombarded. I mean, it was
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, it was insane. I would say it was a win on multiple different levels.
Yeah.
Because it's always a win when people get to hear about Jesus. It's always a win when you get to serve people. But even from the volunteer aspect, it was nice. You know, a few of the college kids that I'm friends with got to show up, and it was nice just being able to, like, show them, like, this is what it's like to serve.
Right.
You know, because from the outside looking in, there's not a whole lot of understanding.
Right.
You know, and so it was good to be able to show them, like, no, this is what your life can be like when you live a life on missions.
Right. And I think it's so important for the church to see what they hear about every Sunday put into action.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's meant to help grow us, to help strengthen us in our faith as we go to church and we're learning and meditating on God's word, but it's meant to be used. We're meant to now go and tell the rest of the world. And it shows people simple, applicable ways to do that. I mean, it's as simple as doing the presence, as simple as the hamburger, as simple as a snow cone, as simple as whatever that looks like, as long as it gets you into someone's life so that you can start to love on them and share the gospel with them, then it's a win right there. And I think a lot of churches just struggle with the first steps. And once they, I think we're able to help some of that with the first steps. It's like, now it's like you guys just keep on going, right? And keep on going with what God's, drawing you into. And so one of the things that happened to me last night that was really good, that it was like it was just really exciting. I don't know. It was just neat to see. And I didn't get over to the food area to the end. And we were giving out so much stuff, dude. It was insane. And one lady came up and we brought some Diet Dr. Pepper out. And she came up, she was just grinning ear to ear. And I said something like, are you happy? And she's like, this is the happiest I've ever been. And it was like she meant that. Like she really meant this is the happiest she's ever been. And I don't know what was going on in her life that has caused her not to be. But at this moment, what Jesus had set up with churches and the food and all the things was something that made her that happy. And so I was extremely blessed by that, for sure.
Yeah, because we never really understand what's going on in people's lives, right? And you think about gifts and whatever you give people, but even just a couple of the two girls that won our bike raffle, seeing how the mom was like super excited, and she was like, we were praying that we were gonna win, we wanted it so bad. And it's like, yeah, it's just a couple of bikes, but just it's a reminder that they're not forgotten about, that someone cares about them, that that Jesus loves them. And so it was really neat to be able to see that the gospel even moving just through the gesture of the outreach.
Right. It did open our minds, or we've been thinking about what we could do regularly in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so last night was kind of also a test on the food stuff. We're trying to figure out how to distribute food consistently in this neighborhood and plus Enid maybe. And, we talked about, well, what about once a month, and what would that look like, and what would we have to have as far as church involvement, volunteers. And so I think last night was definitely a open eye to what could happen. We definitely have a lot more logistics to figure out because it was, it was a lot going on. And I think if you were to push that on a bigger platform with more people, then we're going to have to figure out more things on how we're going to navigate through that. And so it's again, we're always exploring. I think that's part of why Forgotten Ministries is able to keep on sometimes changing, or things are seasonal. We're exploring like what's working and how do we adjust to the culture so that we have an opportunity to share the gospel. The gospel never changes. The gospel is consistent, and it is the same through eternity. But how we get the gospel out can change because as the generation is different, and the generation is now involved in this or does this, or they don't move out of their house, or they do. All these different things you have to navigate through. And as we, in our ministry, we're always trying to explore, like, what's the next way that we can introduce Jesus to people through. If it's food, then we'll just go down the food. And so I think we are exploring a lot of that come 2025. We'll talk about that in one of the next couple podcasts on some of our big vision stuff that we're going to be launching, and how we're going to be starting to try to raise money, find volunteers, how to structure all of it, all of that stuff that we have to think through, because a lot of people don't realize when they get to an outreach like last night. That didn't happen in one day.
What
you know?
it takes to get it going.
Yeah, dude, it was a lot of hours involved in that, and which is that's the beauty of it, and that's what I love. The Forgotten Ministries team, you guys are willing to sacrifice and lay your life down so that a church can come and experience something for a couple hours. Because the hope is as they get that and they're like, dude, we can do this. They go back and now they're doing it in their own community.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, so we have how many more nights left?
Tonight, tomorrow night, and if we have gifts, we've been running out of gifts Sunday.
Sunday. So we got possibly 3 nights left. So next week we'll probably film another podcast to talk about the next 3 nights, and we'll figure that out, and we'll see how that all goes. And I'm excited. We got 2 nights walks, and then the 3rd night we're kind of doing it a little different. We'll talk about that on the podcast. We'll see if it works out, and then we get some time off. Thank you, Jesus.
Oh no,
I'm excited to sleep.
same.
And I'm excited to eat whatever Christmas is. And I always love presents, so I'm super excited about presents.
I'm kind of Christmased out, if I'm being honest.
Listen, I was worried about Christmas Day with my kids. I'm like, I hope we're not tired of opening presents.
If I see another Christmas lights,
Yeah, I almost took my Christmas tree down last night when I got home. I'm like, nope, we're done.
I know, right?
but it is good. It's fun.
It's been really fun. It's been really good.
It's nice to see people's faces when you show up on their street or on their porch and you've got a trailer with Christmas lights behind you. You're like,
Well,
look.
Well, even the other day, me and Aaron was across working on some food pallets and organizing stuff, and Hayden and Tristan were out taking flyers, and all of a sudden, me and Aaron hear this screaming. And I'm like, what the heck? And I stuck my head out the garage door, and these 2 little girls literally jumping and running down the sidewalk, screaming with their flyer in their hand. And they were yelling, "Present! It's present time!" Dude, I wish I could have gone video. It was literally epic.
That's so funny.
It was so funny. Like, they had been waiting for that because they knew we did it. And they were super jacked about it.
I know the Marshallese kids are always like, when's VBS? When's this? When's this? And it's like, well, we had Christmas yesterday, so Christmas isn't again until next year.
But do you notice that when we do the Christmas event, it's probably the only time in their life that they're ever before the time it starts? Usually they're always late.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
The-
We're going to get them
We're going
to
to
bring
get
them
them.
over.
Yeah, VBS, it's like 10 a.m. VBS started 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
You're having to I know you're up till 2, but get up. You're coming to VBS today. You have to, literally, I've had to walk inside of some houses before and wake the kids up and be like, dude, we're going to VBS.
Yeah, but with the Christmas thing, they were literally there early, waiting.
I know. It's like, all right, guys, we can't start yet. Sorry.
It was so funny. So, anyways, well, pray for us that we just have gospel conversations. We want people to come to know Jesus. If you don't know Jesus, I hope that you come to know him. Please pray for the things that we got going on, and pray for God to give us wisdom and understanding for 2025. And we'll be excited to update you guys next. Talk to y'all later.